constituencies. I just say to the Minister, it's bad for all MPs, and MPs, quite rightly, need to represent their constituents. The sooner we help them, the sooner that this House will be in a better place.
Watch how the Speaker brings the House to order after Labour is accused of dodging responsibility for a growing prison crisis. As MPs demand answers on the early release of serious offenders, the debate turns into a powerful confrontation over accountability, transparency, and justice for victims across Britain. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to Britain Talk Daily. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Dr. Kieran Milne.
Imagine you are the victim of a serious crime, as serious as rape or child grooming, and you receive a letter telling you that the perpetrator who harmed you is going to be let out of prison early. Appallingly, this is the experience right now for thousands of victims of crime, including some of the most serious crimes imaginable, thanks to the changes that have been made to our sentencing laws by this Labour government, helped by the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've listened to the Honourable Member on this issue a lot, and I must once again remind him of his record in government and why the Sentencing Act was an absolute necessity to keep the criminal justice system functioning. There is no alternative that has been offered by the opposition to the prison crisis that they created. There is a choice. Strict...
Can I just help? But we don't need to worry about what their position is. The question is to yourself and about what you're going to do. As I've also got a constituent that got a letter. So I've got to say it's very serious across the country. Point forward, Dr. Kieran Milne.
I genuinely seek your guidance and support, Mr. Speaker. I've submitted multiple written questions, FOI requests. We've had a name day question on this matter that was due to be answered on Friday, which the government has refused to answer as it should. The Minister said that the information we're after is in the impact assessment. That is not true. There is not the information on the number of offenders in terms of rapists and child groomers being answered. How do we in the public get answers to these very basic, incredibly important questions?
Look, what I would suggest is, I'm sure the bench has heard there's outstanding questions that should have been answered. I'm quite disappointed if it is the case. It should be answered. Members of Parliament put questions down to ministers, and ministers are answerable to this House. Not when they feel like answering it or when they get round to it. That is totally unacceptable. I hope that they will go back and check the records to make sure letters have been returned, answered, and also questions. But name day questions mean it's in the title. Should be answered on a name day. So look, what I would say is, it's been heard. I'm sure that can be rectified today, and I'm sure if it's not, the answer is there are many avenues, including coming back to this House, because I do believe there are questions to be answered. All MPs should be told, not who, but how many may be released within their constituencies. I just say to the Minister, it's bad for all MPs, and MPs, quite rightly, need to represent their constituents. The sooner we help them, the sooner that this House will be in a better place. I will leave it at that for now.
We now come to the statement. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm taking this statement on behalf of the Prime Minister. I spoke earlier today on the Prime Minister's record across the country, stabilising the economy, driving down waiting lists in the National Health Service, lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. Regardless of your politics, Mr. Speaker, everyone in this House owes a debt of gratitude to the Prime Minister on foreign affairs. Mr. Speaker, I will turn now to the specifics of the G7 summit.
The Deputy Prime Minister just said that we're all in the Prime Minister's debt. Well, that would be the £300 billion of debt that he's racked up. And of all the G7 countries, we now pay the highest borrowing costs. So given that Labour were elected on an express pledge not to raise taxes and not to borrow beyond our means, would the Deputy Prime Minister agree with me that if the member for Makerfield wants to hike taxes even more and to max out our national credit card, he should call a general election?
I'm very grateful to the Right Honourable Gentleman, but I've got to say to him, Reform are in no position to ask questions or make demands when their leader is refusing to own up about his £5 million donation and whether he lobbied the Bank of England about cryptocurrencies.
Davey. Richard Tice.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It is clear to me that the National Crime Agency have released details of my company bank statements, my individual bank transfers, as well as private conversations between me and my bank managers to The Guardian, which have been published. This involves multiple criminal offences, Leader, and I believe that there should be a full investigation. Does the leader agree with me that there should be such an investigation? And if people at the National Crime Agency have committed serious criminal offences, then they should face the full force of the law.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. There's a great deal of if in that matter. I find it astonishing that a party's finances should need to be investigated by the National Crime Agency, frankly. But these are serious matters. These are very serious matters, and individuals should make sure that they do have the protections and that those protections are respected. Though where investigations are necessary. Let me take that away, if I may, and raise with the relevant authorities, because it is important that even the National Crime Agency or others are held to account. But just let me say that I have absolute faith in the National Crime Agency getting on with the important job that this House gives them.
Today's Commons exchange became about far more than prison policy. It became a debate over accountability, transparency, and whether Parliament is receiving the answers it deserves from the government. The confrontation began as MPs raised serious concerns about the early release of offenders and the impact on victims and local communities. Questions were asked about how many offenders could be released and whether ministers had provided Parliament with the information needed to properly scrutinise the policy. Rather than focusing solely on the issue raised, the debate quickly shifted into political blame over who created the prison crisis. That prompted a firm intervention from the Speaker. Sir Lindsay Hoyle reminded ministers that Parliament deserves direct answers to the questions being asked, not arguments about the past. He stressed that named day parliamentary questions should be answered on time and described any failure to do so as totally unacceptable. He also emphasised that MPs must receive the information necessary to represent their constituents effectively. For people watching across Britain, this debate touches on something deeply personal. Victims of crime, their families, and local communities want reassurance that public safety comes first. They also expect elected representatives to receive clear answers whenever decisions affect their constituencies. Whether you support the government or the opposition, today's exchange highlighted an important principle of parliamentary democracy. Ministers are accountable to Parliament, and Parliament is accountable to the people. What do you think? Was the Speaker right to insist that ministers answer MPs directly, or should the government have been given more room to explain its position? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy in-depth coverage of Prime Minister's questions, House of Commons debates, and the biggest political moments from Westminster, please like this video, subscribe to Britain Daily, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest breaking political coverage.